a lot of the probability questions will be given to you in table format. So you want to make sure you can read the table. So let's look at the table a little bit. One thing that's on this table that isn't always on tables are these total columns. And I don't think on this one we'll actually need them, but just I want you to notice them. This is totaled, so this table is pretty easy to read. You can easily find the total number of men, or you could look down a column and find the total number of non-smokers. On tables that don't have those total columns, make sure you total them. So let's look at the example. If a person is randomly selected from the 941 subjects, find the probability of selecting a woman and a light smoker. The best thing to do on these tables is to draw those ovals around the rows and columns that they mention. So we want the probability of woman and light smoker. So let's look at our women category. There's the row with women. Here's the column with light smokers. How many of those are women and light smokers? Well, that would be the 45 in the middle. Now it says we have 941 total subjects, so we're going to put the 941 on bottom and the 45 goes on top. That's how many women and light smokers we have. Now that fraction, 45 over 941, that fraction does not make a lot of sense. So when we see a fraction like that we can't look at and tell exactly how much it is, let's change it to a decimal. So we're going to take 45 and divide it by 941. Then we're going to round it to 3 decimal places. That's where we want to round probability values. Most of the time, unless otherwise stated, we'll just round to 3 decimals. Now let me show you what I did on the calculator. I just took 45 and divided it by 941. Okay, so 45 divided by 941 is 0.0478. When I rounded it for our answer, I rounded it to 3 decimal places, 0.048. Let's see if the calculator will take that back to a fraction for us. If we wanted to try that, we would press Math, and then see where it says this little arrow to frac. That's convert to a fraction, so press Enter, and then Enter. And there we go. It converts it back to a fraction for us. Let's look at the next 2 questions. And at this point, why don't you pause the video and work these 2 questions, and then we'll take a look at them. Alright, number 1, what is the probability Bob Smith will make his next free throw if he has made 515 free throws out of 679 attempts? So the probability, let's say next free throw. Well, he's had 679 attempts, and he's made 515 of them. Again, this is a fraction that, just looking at it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not like 1/2. We know what 1/2 is, or 3/4. Those are easy fractions that make sense. 515 out of 679 does not make a lot of sense. So let's change that to a decimal of 0.758. That's 515 divided by 679. 0.758, that makes more sense. That's almost 3/4, right? Because 3/4 is 0.75, so that's really close to 3/4. So that allows us to see or understand what 515 out of 679 is. So he has around a 3/4 chance of making his next free throw. Alright, if a year is selected at random, what is the probability Thanksgiving will fall on a Wednesday? I hope you didn't think about this one too hard. I'm just going to say probability of Wednesday, because Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. So the probability that Thanksgiving will fall on a Wednesday is 0. So that question is just in here to make you realize that you are going to have to think about these questions. What are they asking? This one was asking for something that was impossible. Thanksgiving is never on a Wednesday.